everyone, and welcome to the most prominent podcast for your New Japan Pro Wrestling content. This is Chris's Chaos. Right here on ChannelCortez33, I am your host, Chris Cortez. And yes, it's been a minute. We got some stuff finished. Our house is completely, more or less, finished. All set up. Only took about a couple months, and had some issues with the PC, still having issues with the PC, but I'm using my laptop. Always have a backup plan, and have been keeping an eye out on G1, but am still far behind, almost caught up. But now we are a few nights behind. I'm going to do a quick review of nights 7 and 8, okay? And we'll go from there. I'll try to get in nights 9 and 10, 11 and 12. Hopefully by the time we get to August 12th, we'll be caught up. But yeah, I can't make any promises at this point. But sooner or later, we're going to catch up. We're going to catch up to, when we get to that tournament and whatnot, and it'll be all good. But, it's been a great set of shows so far. I've been having fun watching it when I can. I'm watching a little Olympics, watched a little bit of, what I've been watching. I watched Ratchet. Go watch that show. That was a pretty cool show. Crazy twists and turns at every turn. How it ended though, not so lined up with One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest. Everything was going smooth until they got to that end, which I didn't hate it. It just, I just felt like maybe it seemed like they were setting up for a season 2, but I don't think that's happening. I'll go back and do a little, research on that, but good show. Finished up on that Queen's Gambit. That's another good show that definitely it's limited series. I like the limited series with it's a way to go. And it has a beginning, it has an end for the most part. Got back into some Dexter, loving Dexter. It's just so funny, and that first season is just perfect. Could have been its own limited series, Reminds me of like graphic novels, these new shows that have been coming out. They're just very reminding me of like, I've always been a Marvel fan since I was in 5th grade, was collecting nonstop. And, with everything that's going on with like the multiverse and all that stuff, we're at this point. A lot of fans are like, saying things like, oh, it's not like it was, when we had this Infinity Saga. Now it's just all over the place. The stories aren't making much sense. There's not much consistency. Well, here's the thing about Marvel Comics, and people will be like, well, I've been collecting forever. If you've been collecting forever, you should know that nobody ever really dies as far as superheroes. They never really die. They always come back. They can always come back and find ways to come back. And whether it be a multiverse, whether it be some sort of resurrection, whether it be whatever, okay? You can always bring back superheroes. So you just kind of have to roll with it. You have to just enjoy what you can, and if you don't like it, you walk away. You just turn around and walk away, okay? Remember, it's not going to be as bad as Batman and Robin, all right? That movie was the ultimate flop. And even that had some fun parts in it. I'll even admit to that. But, I at one point got heavily into Image Comics, and just because I love the fact that, the writers really had their control over their own titles. They would start their story, they'd finish it. It was very self-contained. So if that's something you're into, if you really want to take it to another level, Image Comics, stuff like Walking Dead, particularly. I loved the Top Cow stuff with the Darkness and Witchblade, and but then it got really good with like stuff that was written by like Rick Remender and Scott Snyder. It's just so much. And what's cool about some of these things is that you don't have to, you don't have to know about like you don't have to have read thousands of comic books to know what's going on in their little universe. It's all self-contained. That's cool. And much like the Netflix shows with their just, 8 episodic limited series, you go in, you get out. Just like that's probably one of the reasons why The Watchmen is so incredible, is that it established its own little superhero universe within that graphic novel and had its big story. And you got the payoff by the end of the graphic novel. The best graphic novels are, if you look up the top graphic novels of all time, they're all more or less self-contained. So, yeah, on that note, completely outside of wrestling. But I went back, and I'm having fun. It's just nice to be back on the podcast, and, forgive me if I'm not like too energetic. It's a little late, 11:30, but wanted to get this one in and need to get these in. And, but at the same time, we do this for fun. I went back and watched a final, a G1 Climax final. It was G1 Climax 21 and from 2011. And it was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Tetsuya Naito. And my God, were these guys in their prime 10 years, like 12 years ago. Naito looking like he just had a little bit more weight and like he was just a little bit of a hoss. He had the neck, he had the shoulders. You could tell he was just a little bit beefier. And Nakamura, man, he dropped the ball on this guy in WWE. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, well, he was just going to the WWE to get the paycheck. I don't want to hear it. Because he came into the WWE around 2016, night before WrestleMania 32, still kind of looking like he was the prime Nakamura. Hair was a little bit shorter, some of it was growing, but if you go back and watch 2011, that G1, the way he used to kick people, the way he used to attack was just on point. It's funny because it kind of reminds me of guys like Yota Tsuji right now and Jake Lee. Man, Jake Lee could be like the second coming of Shinsuke Nakamura. Too bad he hasn't been getting too many wins in. And people would say things like, oh, well, he's not winning, so that must mean he's got nothing going for him. But no, he's got everything going for him. Whenever they want to pull the trigger and start letting him win, they can do it. So, but yeah, it was a great match. Go back and watch G1 21 final. It's available on New Japan World. Naito versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And the crowd was fully packed. The arena was fully packed. The crowd was amped. And the Naito chants were going strong even back then. The Nakamura chants kind of took over in the end, but it was such a great match. And I enjoyed going back and watching that earlier today. But I did watch Night 7, Night 8, held on July 29th and July 31st. It was the end of the month. And it was cool. I mean, Jeff Cobb, he got on commentary. I was surprised. He did pretty well on commentary and for that Night 7. And, we'll get into some of these matches. Evil versus Callum Newman. I was expecting Callum Newman to win, but Evil, he's undefeated. This guy is undefeated right now. I mean, who knows? Maybe by the time we get to where I'm supposed to be, Evil finally lost one, but he's 5-0. So even if he lost the rest of his matches, he'd still have a winning record. He'd still have 10 points. 10 points is very good. 10 points is very much you're going into the tournament. If he wins one more match, he's more than likely going into that tournament. He could very well lead the tournament. He's leading the entire G1 at this point. That's saying a lot. We'll talk about it. Newman with his ska music. I love it. It kind of reminds me of American Pie. That's just American Pie music. And Jeff Cobb said something along the lines of, I'm worried this song might be trademarked already. I mean, something along those lines. But it does. It sounds like something out of American Pie. I enjoyed it. Quick off the match, Dick Togo gets involved right off the bat. Get a big suplex on the ramp by Newman. Dick involved just all over the place. We get at one point Newman leaps over Dick, over the barricade, off the barricade to get back in the ring at 18. It was nice. We get a sweeps. He sweeps Evil and hits the double stomp into the Boston Crab. Newman hits the Magic Killer off the ref after Dick gets involved, near fall, something that Evil would normally do. Newman hits that Busaiku knee. Evil goes for everything. Is Evil. It's blocked. But eventually he catches him, and it's 5-0. I'm not going to do too much description of all the matches, but some of the matches I got heavily into detailed. So, but at this point, Evil's 5-0. Newman, he looked good. He faces Jake Lee next. Evil takes on Great-O-Khan, who also got a win in tonight against Jake Lee. He was 0-4. Lee was 1-3. Khan goes right after the hand to start. Lee gets the upper hand on the outside using the barricades throughout the match. Lee used mostly traditional moves, but also his size advantage and reach. While Khan targets Lee's leg, Lee misses the face break shot. Khan hits the German. Lee can't get the choke slam, but does get those knees in. I'm thinking that he's going to eventually win. But Khan counters, hits the eliminator, gets the win. Khan 1-4, and now so is Lee. So it's looking like this year's not going to be Lee's year, but if he stays with Bullet Club, who knows? Lord knows. Who knows? He could end up being the leader one day. This guy could lead his own faction. This guy has got so much talent and so much charisma with his appearance that he can do anything he wants. The next match, Shota Umino versus Zack Sabre. Okay, this was a big one. Sabre gets his first loss against Shota Umino. For the first half of it was Zack's match. Umino hits the drop toe hold into that over the top rope DDT, followed by the drop kick. When Zack Sabre's kind of hanging off the ropes, it's signature Umino stuff at this point. Umino, he hits that trident and the key in the ignition. He even hits the Death Rider. But the Blaze Blade gets caught, countered into the armbar, then transitions. Zack transitions to the leg into a variation figure 4. Umino, though, eventually makes it to the ropes, fights his way back. Umino hits that enziguri. Zack hits the German. Umino hits the Blaze Blade. Near fall. Umino then hits the Death Rider. He eventually hits that Death Rider for the 1-2-3. So Umino's 3-2. Umino's looking good with his record. Zack's still 4-1. And at this point, Evil is now the leader of Block A and the entire G1. After Zack was the only one kind of keeping up with him. You get Shingo Takagi versus Gabe Kidd. Oh, this was a brutal match. Gabe Kidd at one time shouts out saying, "My time coming, fuck you, bitch," says Gabe Kidd. I cannot make this stuff up. Pardon my French throughout the Gabe Kidd match. And of course, Night 8, where he gets on commentary. He is definitely the most vulgar guy in wrestling today. I'm going to go ahead and say that and go so far. David Finlay is a close second. And we'll talk about David Finlay for Night 8. Taka, he does get his Takagi time in. At one point, he goes for he's going to say his catchphrase, ducks Gabe Kidd, takes care of Gabe Kidd for a moment, then says it's Takagi time. You get some exploders exchanged. They beat the holy hell out of each other, crash into each other like two cars in a destruction derby. Kidd with one of the most lethal lariats. Takagi, though, hits that big bomber. Kidd hits a pile driver, but Takagi with a big bomber. Near fall, Kidd back up like the madman. He's getting the chants from the crowd. Headbutts, forearms, lariats. 2 pile drivers from Kidd, gets the victory. He's 3-2 now, and as is Takagi. Kidd, he says, turn off the effing music. Bows, a full bow, not shit bow, full bow to Takagi. Then points to the crowd, extends his hand, and says, "Be a man." He actually shakes his hand. Takagi was hesitant, but he shakes it, but then, of course, he gets kicked down. I do feel like there was a hint of respect in Kidd there, okay? Just a hint. One day, who knows, we might see Kidd turn face. He is definitely the most vulgar dude in wrestling, so it's kind of hard to see him become a face at any point. But the crowd respects this guy. His intensity, his ability to go, got to respect that. And then in the main event of Night 7, you got Naito Tetsuya versus Sanada. Tetsuya Naito with a drop toe hold into the headlock, into the head scissors. This match was fantastic, by the way. And I want to go ahead and look at the time, but we'll get into that. This the G1. Let's just take a look at what's going on with this one, because I do want to get into the times. Yeah, this one definitely, of course, easily went the longest of the matches. Tetsuya Naito versus Sanada, 17 minutes, 43 seconds. The kid match with Takagi went about 13 minutes. Oh, Umno versus Sabre actually went 19 minutes and 13 seconds. Didn't feel that way because I just feel, I mean, obviously Sabre's matches are a little bit more methodical, so he gets that breathing room. But 19 minutes and 13 seconds, that was the longest match. But this one felt like it was the longest. You get some headlocks, head scissors, back to the headlock by Naito, clean break followed by the spit of Naito. One point he ducks and dodges, hits that tranquilo drop. It's, the pose. But we get a drop kick from Sanada, who's not playing around. Outside, Sanada sends Naito to the barricades. He then drops Naito onto the barricades, back into a sleeper hold in the ring. Sanada remains in control of Naito. Big back suplex, pin attempt. Naito counters to the backbreaker. Drop kick, arm drag, back elbow. Drop kick, whip to the corner, another shoulder, and neck breaker. Using the rope and another slow-mo neck breaker. Naito has taken control, pin attempt. It's that quick. You got to really watch it. The cravat, Sanada trying to fight back. Naito goes into the leg scissors on the arms, puts the pressure on the neck. Rope break. Naito applies a hammerlock. Sanada, after a couple leapfrogs, hits the drop kick, then the plancha outside. Textbook Sanada. Knee right into the head of Naito. Back into the ring. We get a Russian leg sweep from Sanada. Pin attempt, back elbow, and neck breaker from Naito. Now both are down. Naito up first, elbows to the neck, setting up Sanada for Destino. He lifts Sanada on the top, hits the Frankensteiner, does Naito. Cobb calls it a Hurricane Rana. Drop kick to the knee goes Sanada, hits the magic screw with the help of the top rope. Now Sanada has some time to breathe. We get a moonsault, lands on his feet. Misses that, blocks the DDT, misses the Shining Wizard. Gets hit with a spine buster from Naito. Almost caught in Destino. Sanada hits counters to a TKO. Looked good. He connects then with the Shining Wizard, then the moonsault, near fall. He says one more, goes for deadfall. Naito counters with a suplex. Destino counter to a roll-up and a bridge, near fall. Sanada hits another Shining Wizard. Deadfall again. Attempt countered to a Destino. Looked a little sloppy, near fall only 2. But Naito hits another Destino. That one fully, this time, gets the victory. So Sanada's now 0-2 against Naito since that Wrestle Kingdom match. I'm thinking this is it. Like, Sanada's going to find a way to get his win back. He's now 2-3, so is Naito. We get a roll call, beautiful roll call from Naito. The crowd loves Naito. He just such a good representative of New Japan right now. And as is Sanada, I got to say Takeshita, it can very well be the next ace. Okay, I'm just going to call it. But if Tony Khan lets him go, which I mean, that is doubtful, but whatever, stranger things have happened. That was night 8. We're going to have to, looking at, let's take a look at what's going on for night 9. Just want to look at what's going to happen, because it's going to have we're going to get Newman versus Jake Lee, and I'm thinking Newman is going to lose to Jake Lee, but stranger things have happened. Newman is due for a win, as is Jake Lee. So we'll see. Great Khan versus the King of Darkness, Evil. I think is going to lose to Great Khan. Great Khan's kind of on a momentum. And then we got Naito versus Gabe Kidd. I think Kidd's going to lose to Naito, especially after his win against Takagi. He's going to lose to Naito. That's my prediction on that one. Then you got Shota Umino versus Sanada. I think it's going to Sanada. I still think Sanada is getting into this tournament, and I still think he's going to win this whole thing. Sabre versus Takagi will be a great match. I don't know, man. I think Sabre, ever since he took that loss, he's going to get another loss to Takagi. He's going to get on a losing streak. We'll see. I'm going to give it to Takagi. So before we get into night 8, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Join me at ChannelCortez33 on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you very much. Bo No Leg versus Yota Tsuji. So all these matches were hard hitting. I think night 8 was a little bit more than night 7. Oleg versus Tsuji. Oleg with a hard shoulder tackle, and another hits his splash right into Tsuji's knees. Tsuji was in control for most of the first half of the match, okay? But then Oleg takes over with a back suplex, strikes Tsuji in the corner, whoop to the corner, splash in the shoulder tackle, splash near fall, gut wrench, then the kick up. Tsuji fights the fireman's carry for a backslide, can't get it, goes for the suplex, and eventually gets it. Oleg kicks Tsuji to get some space, but misses the splash in the corner, roll up by Tsuji, and a front kick then applies that Boston Crab. He misses the Marlowe crash. Oleg gets the drop kick, some Bolton chance, kamikaze counters to a roll up by Yoda. Big kick, but Oleg with a lariat lifts Yoda, who almost fights out, but does not. Kamikaze, only a near fall. Oleg lifts Yoda, who this time holds on to the ropes, fights off, and he hits this massive spear he calls the Gene Blaster for the 1-2-3. This spear is one of the best in the business. Yes, Braun Breaker probably has the best spear in the business today, but this Gene Blaster is a close second. Check it out. The way he was able to kind of just lift up Oleg in the air. I mean, he made it look good. Oleg made it look good too, but Oleg's a giant, as a beast, by the way. And he is now 2-3, as is Yota Tsuji. So, I mean, both these guys I'm not seeing, likely to win this whole thing. But again, we still have a long way to go. And then Gabe Kidd joins the commentary. At this point, I'm all, man, this is going to be a TVMA night with Gabe Kidd on the commentary team. Walker Stewart is also feeling a little bit anxious as he realizes that this guy is going to join him for the rest of the card. So on that note, we get Yuya Uemura versus Sonari, who Kidd really doesn't have the best, does not really have him. He doesn't really hold him up to the best of lights. He claims that he used to beat up on him in the dojo. So, but Uemura is off to a good start with the arm drags. Soon after, though, Hanari takes control with his attacks. We got kicks, forearms, shoulder tackles, headbutts, anything you can, everything that Hanari is known to do. Drops Uemura, senton, pin attempt, hits the berserker bomb early on. Yuya back up with a drop kick, leaping lariat in the corner. Then the back suplex, pin attempt, crossbody from the top. But Hanari rolls through into his arms. He hits that Mallory drop. Forearm exchanges, big kick from Hanari, German from Yuya, lariats from Hanari, near fall. We get drop kicks from Yuya, goes up top, hits that crossbody, pin attempt, only 2, back to the top, goes to that high five flow, I believe it's called, the frog splash. He hit right into the knees of Hanari. It's kind of sad because I do like that move coming from Yuya. High knee from Hanari, German from Yuya, pin attempts, big kicks from both men, nice Pele from Yuya. We get a running punt kick from Hanari, then rampage, very near fall. Dragon suplexes from Yuya. Deadbolt blocked the headbutts, but Hanari, he hits that hammerhead. Streets of Rage, I believe, and then we get Hanari 1-2-3. So Hanari's 3-2. Yuya's 3-2. They're both still in it. Some exchange of words between Kidd and Hanari. I'd like to see that match again. Got Jeff Cobb versus El Phantasmo. Man, I was hoping for more from El Phantasmo, but he's essentially out of this thing. Okay, so shoulder tackle to ELP after a couple roll-up attempts. ELP delivers the Huracan and a suicide dive. Beautiful moonsault by ELP, belly to belly by Cobb. Cobb just lifts ELP up and sends him flying. I got a video of that if I can show it. Surfing from Cobb on the back of ELP. Big Uranagi and hammer and sickle. Near fall. It's when he just kind of lariats his way onto the ground. It's pretty beast. Up top, Cobb with a suplex. Very slow burn suplex. Superplex. Holds him up there forever. Roll up by ELP to counter the power bomb. Then the Insecurity. Cobb still up. Tour of the Islands blocked. ELP hits that tornado DDT does, but then and then a big super kick. Pin attempt. Senton to the moonsault. Connects. ELP pin attempt. They exchange shots. Cobb says, "You can't be sad forever," as he exchange shots. ELP drop kicks Cobb to get some breathing room. Kick up, running elbow. ELP knees. He's already kind of showing like signs of wear and tear on his knee. Gets caught with that tour of the islands, and it's over. Gabe Kidd says ELP is probably at this point listening to Michelle Branch in his bathtub, sipping on rosé. Man, sad ending for ELP. He's really he has 4 more matches. He's already 1-4. So he's out. Like, more than likely he is out. I would be insane if he can get the 4 wins in a row and somehow manage to get in. But I just don't see that happening. But we'll see. ELP, everything he's doing in the ring is incredible. He just doesn't get the win. So you cannot count this guy out until it's over. And he's incredible. So that's it. But we'll see. Ren Narita versus Hiroki Goto. This is another kind of upsetter with Ren Narita. Really pushing the new guys. I mean, make no mistake about it. They are pushing the new generation, with this one being an example. Goto at 2-2. Narita also at 2-2. Before the bell, Narita attacks Goto. We get a big shoulder tackle from Goto. Narita was in control for most of the match. That guillotine knee, using the sword at one point on Goto. At one point, both weapons are in play. Okay, the push-up bar and the sword. Okay, of Goto. Get a low blow by Narita is blocked. Headbutts and lariat takes down Narita. Narita gets the low blow and double crossface plant for the win. Narita is now 3-2. He's in good standing. Goto, not so much at 2-3. And Kid then comes in David Finlay, okay, against Konosuke Takeshita. The whole time, Kid calling Finlay the boss dog. Back around from I would say we continue to use this term from 99 all the way up, at least 99, 2000, all the way up to 2008, 2009, maybe 2010. The word boss dog, because Finlay is the boss dog. He is the boss of the War Dogs. So it's fitting that he is the boss dog. I can appreciate that. But he was very close on this one. I mean, I had a feeling he was going to win, and with the help of a shillelagh, he was able to win. But Takeshita, just clearly showing who he is. He is the alpha. He was definitely, outshining, overpowering David Finlay. Finlay just was able to do what he needed to do to get the win. It's still looking good. It was a close match, but yeah, it was an excellent match. It was a lot of fun, and Kid beat. I mean, it was also very vulgar. We'll talk about it. So before Takeshita gets in the ring, he's staring daggers at Kid. Gabe Kidd is not liking the alpha. He's telling Takeshita you got the boss dog to worry about. Finlay at 2-2. Bell rings. They do not lock up. We get the Takeshita chance. They lock up. Shoulder tackle, chop, boot from Takeshita. Snapmare, takedown, chin lock, headlock, takedown, all Takeshita. Big toss to the corner, spit from Finlay, shot from Konosuke Takeshita. Finlay pushes Takeshita off the turnbuckle, big stomp. This is when Finlay slams Takeshita into the bell keeper, barricade. Of course, that dude falls down. Back in the ring, Finlay clearly in control after the work done outside. Whip to the corner, snap suplex from Finlay. Takeshita getting a leaping forearm to get the space needed. More forearms and a brainbuster. Takeshita misses the running knee, hits the corner pad, goes over and onto the floor. Finlay laughs around the ring, pushes Takeshita out into the barricade, spits on the crowd after he gets on top of a table. I haven't seen this much disrespect the crowd, at least recently. He's given the backwards Turkish wolf kisses to Gabe Kidd and Gato. It's ridiculous, but very entertaining. Takeshita shoves Finlay into the post, stops him in his tracks. Takeshita breaks out 5 chairs, dumps him on Finlay while clearly Red Shoes was being distracted by Gato. Hits a swanton on Finlay, who's under all those chairs. It was a very sick sounding moment in the match. Finlay hits the Irish Curse, though, back in the ring. We get a near fall on the apron. Finlay goes for a pile driver or power bomb. Can't lift up Takeshita, but does push him into a post and onto the floor. So back in the ring, Finlay hits that Dominator near fall. Takeshita back body drop to counter Finlay, but a hard elbow from Finlay. We get a driving knee from Takeshita. Finlay hits into oblivion. Only a near fall, though. Takeshita goes for some quick pins. Can't get it done. Takeshita accidentally hits the ref. We get a buckle bomb from Finlay. Takeshita, though, gets a massive power bomb. No ref to count. Ghetto helping Red Shoes quote-unquote helping Red Shoes. Takeshita distracted, and Finley uses that shillelagh, but Takeshita still out before 2. Finley misses overkill, gets hit with a hard elbow shot. Gedo gets involved again, baits Finley, does Takeshita, who hits Gedo, who's on the outside, falls on the floor. He hits that Poison Rana and a Blue Thunder Bomb. I was thinking this was it, but Raging Fire counter to a backslide and the overkill and the 1-2-3. Finley is now 3-2, as is Takeshita. So we stopped Takeshita for pretty much leading the B block. Currently Sabre is still the leader Sabre's still A block, but looking back, let me think. I think Jeff Cobb, he is leading at this point. So it's any man's game right now in a B block, more so than the A block. Night 8, I mean, that match between Finley and Takeshita went 18 minutes and 22 seconds. Longest match of the night. Second longest match of the night was the Hanare versus Uemura match. That makes sense. They definitely went all out. And the Goto match versus Narita. Very, very good match. But I am thinking, I'm very much looking forward to what's going to happen, with these next coming nights. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about night 10. Okay, this is the August 4th. I know we're behind, but we'll get these hopefully knocked out and ready to go. And if I do that, then I only have to do 2 match. I'm really only covering. I'm not even covering the opening tag matches. I'm going right into the singles matches. If I can do August 3rd and August 4th tomorrow night, August 6th and August 7th the following night, I should be ready to go for the next show. We also have a wine fest going on starting on Friday. It's going to go on all week. So yes, I'm going to get that in too. It'll be fun. You can get a glass for like $3, my wife is telling me, and you can just go around and get drinks. It's awesome. And food. So it's going to be fantastic. But let's talk about night 10. So August 4th, we're going to have the match between, let's see, 8th match. Looks like there's only 8 matches, so they'll get right into it. They'll have a couple tag matches. They'll start with Oleg versus Finley. I'm going to give it to Oleg. Oleg's a beast. Finley makes one wrong move, it's going to go to Oleg. But Finley is kind of on the rise, but I still see Oleg getting one. Same with El Fantasma versus Uemura. I can give it to ELP. Cobb versus Hanare. Oh man, I'm gonna go with Jeff Cobb. I'm gonna go with Jeff Cobb. As far as at this point, I'm thinking that Jeff Cobb is the leader of the United Empire. But that's another story. Then you got Hiroki Goto versus Konosuke Takeshita. I want to give Takeshita. I want Goto to get one, but I think it's going to Takeshita. Then you got Tsuji versus Narita. Going to give it to Tsuji. And there you go. So, yeah, we'll get back to it. It's been fun. It was a quick little review. And I'm very much enjoying the G1. And I'm going to go quickly edit this bad boy. It was a quick 33-minute, review of the 2 nights. I'll be back tomorrow night. We'll try to catch up to the current card that's going to take place. I know I'm behind. I've been keeping myself under, away from everything that's going on, like all the results and everything like that. So I'm giving you like a fresh perspective. The next one is going to be August 8th. Yes. So I will be behind again. But it's all good because the next one won't be until August 10th. And then we'll get one August 12th. So they're starting to put like days in between, you know what I mean? So that's okay. So we're good. So we got time to get this round robin knocked in, knocked out. But it's been cool. And tell me who you think's going to win this bad boy, and your favorite match of the night. No spoilers, please. And hit that like or subscribe button. And I will talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye.